Welcome to Red Recaps. Today we will do a recap about a 2010 action-adventure movie, Book of Eli. Chill out and relax for a fun, action-packed ride. Let's get started. The movie opens in a forest with pieces of small debris floating down and hitting the ground. A gun appears along with a lifeless body. A man named Eli is breathing through a gas mask, gasping for air. While he was walking through a desolate land, Eli comes across an abandoned car. He sees an abandoned house and kicks the door open with his gun in hand. However, the house is empty. He opens the door to a room and is surprised to see a dead man. Aside from the smell, the dead man's shoes are the first thing he notices. He grabs the shoes and takes them out for a spin, walking around with the shoes in happiness. He opens a book wrapped in cloth and reads until he falls asleep. The next morning, he glances towards his powerless iPod and then returns to his journey. On his way, Eli sees a broken and traumatized woman. She asks him for help, but he instead looks around. He shouts for the hijackers to show themselves, and they appear. Eli quickly slices off the gang leader's hand. In disbelief, the commander orders the mob to murder Eli. Eli murders everyone but the lady. Eli collects anything useful, leaves her water, and departs. He sits on a broken bridge, watching some group of bikers harass a couple. He wants to help, but he keeps telling himself to stay on the path, and that what's happening isn't his concern. Later on, he finds himself at a crossroads and goes right. He arrives in a small community where people reside. He enters a shop, and the owner of the shop points a gun at him. Eli collects the gun from the man and then gives him back, saying that he is just a customer. Eli shows his hands to the man, and the owner of the shop checks if he is one of them, but Eli assures him that he is not. He trades a lighter and a couple of KFC wet wipes for a full charge on his Fathom 900 battery. Meanwhile, the same biker group from earlier comes into town with a bunch of books that they collected for their boss. But unfortunately, the book that the man is looking for isn't there. They offered him a shampoo, which he is excited about. He then gives the shampoo to a woman. Eli enters a dining hall, looking thirsty for a drink of water. He sells a piece of cloth and 2 gloves for a full refill on his container. The bartender calls for a woman named Solara, and she goes to fill the container. Martz, the group's commander, confronts Eli. Eli is accused of knocking and touching his cat, but Eli escapes punishment. Eli slaps Martz's face against the counter and vows he'll answer for his actions. Eli attempts to flee when Martz collapses, but everyone stands in his way. Eli killed anybody who attacked him. Solara witnesses the fight and begs him to stop. More of them arrive, and Eli drops his weapon after citing the leader of the gang. The boss takes Eli to his office and tells him that this is a civilized town. They do not eat humans. And he then proceeds to ask if Eli reads, and he replies yes, which means they have something in common. The boss offers him an opportunity to work for him because he plans to expand his community. He turns down the offer, stating he has to go west. Eli decides to stay the night since the boss offers him a comfortable bed, food, and water. A blind lady comes in and feeds him. He asks her how she became blind, and she tells him she was born that way. The lady informs the boss that Eli won't change his mind by morning and won't follow him like the rest. The boss thinks otherwise and decides to send Solara to Eli's room, even though the woman begs him not to. Solara enters the room. She tries to seduce him, but Eli respectfully declines, opening the door for her to leave. She begs him not to make her go, as the boss, named Carnegie, will hurt her mother, who happens to be the blind woman. She offers to sleep on the floor and tells Eli to lie to Carnegie by telling him that they had a good time. He agrees, and Solara starts asking about the pre-apocalyptic world. She sees the book that Eli is hiding, and he refuses to let her see or touch the book. He asks her where they get their water, but she insists on telling him only if he tells her about the book. The night ends with them eating and praying together. The next morning, Solara reports to Carnegie and prays before eating with her mother. but she is unable to finish the prayer, and Carnegie notices this. He interrupts the prayer and asks Solara if she has seen a book or read anything. She refuses to answer, making Carnegie use violence on her mother to make Solara talk. Finally, she tells Carnegie about the book with a leather cover and a crucifix on the front. Carnegie and his men searched for Eli, but he had already left. Carnegie's right-hand man then shoots the guard looking after Eli. Eli gets the battery from the shop and then finds guns pointing at him as soon as he steps out. Carnegie asks for the book, telling Eli he will kill him and take the book. Carnegie orders his right-hand man to shoot Eli, but every bullet just seems to graze and miss him. Then all hell breaks loose. Eli starts to shoot them one after the other while no shot is hitting him, as if he had the power of God protecting him. Eli shoots Carnegie's leg with a shotgun, signifying the end of the brief battle. The right-hand man lowered his gun, allowing Eli to walk away. Solara runs after Eli, but he doesn't want anything to do with her. Solara tells him that she will take him to where he can get water. So they paid a visit to the spring, and as they exit, Eli locks up Solara in a cave. Carnegie is screaming in pain while someone is treating his leg. He announces that they will go after Eli, but his right-hand man shows worry because all of his men are down. The right-hand man makes a deal, stating that he will give his utmost loyalty in exchange for Solara, and Carnegie agrees. They bring out their vehicles and start their journey to the west in search of Eli. Solara found her way out of the cave and was lost in the middle of the road. She meets a woman asking for help. Solara offers her assistance, but the injured woman tries to say she doesn't need any and asks her to leave. Then, two thugs manhandled her and she screamed. As she shouts for help, an arrow pierces through the pants of the thug. Eli arrives at the scene just in time to rescue her, and she hugs him. They both walked together. Carnegie and his men arrive at the place of the thugs who harm Solara. They decide to stop, rest, and plan to make ground early in the morning. Meanwhile, Eli squats down to read his book. Solara asks him if he reads the book every day and requests for him to read some to her. He accepts and starts a sermon. He then explains why the book is just not any book. It is the only one of its kind left, and the rest of the copies are now ashes because people believed the book caused the war. He tells her a story about how the book caused the war and how he followed the voice from within to recover the book. Then the voice instructs him to carry the book to the west so that a path will be laid out for him and he will be protected. As he drives along the road, Carnegie signals to his men to stop. They came across an abandoned nuclear power plant that the two stayed in the night before. Solara learns that Eli has been walking for over 30 years, and not once has he thought that he is lost, because he says that he walks by faith and not by sight. They came across an abandoned house. They approach cautiously, with Eli leading the way. As they were about to open the door, they fell into a pit. The door opens, an old woman and her husband look down and threaten them. However, the old woman shows little compassion in her heart and invites them for a cup of tea. A couple sips in, and as they bond, the old man says he wants to show them something outside. They saw graves lined up. Eli and Solara quickly assume that these were from the people the old couple killed and ate. They make their way out, but suddenly they see Carnegie and his men. They went back inside, and when Eli requested more weapons, the old man lifted the cushions on his couch, revealing a motherload of weapons. With a megaphone, Carnegie requests for him to bring out Solara and the book. Then a book wrapped in cloth flies out of a window. They opened it. The book turned out to be a makeshift bomb. The timer goes off and causes an explosion, and a shootout emerges. Carnegie's aide kills the elderly man's wife with a bazooka. They used a machine gun to fire at the residence, killing the elderly man. Eli and Solara surrendered. Carnegie asks where the book is, but he doesn't answer. They examine his bag but find nothing. Carnegie threatens to murder Eli, but he shows no fear. He snatches Solara and threatens Eli with the gun. Eli had no choice but to reveal the whereabouts of the book. Carnegie gets the book and shoots Eli. Carnegie asks for his prayers and leaves with Solara. Solara takes out a rope and uses it to strangle the driver, causing a commotion in the vehicle. She throws a grenade she found in the car, and it rolls underneath the truck and explodes. Solara then gets into the car, and Carnegie's right-hand man grabs her arm. Solara notices a blade that belonged to Eli, piercing his chest. He removes the blade and comes down from the car, and then he dies. Without any fuel left, Carnegie decides not to go after Solara. Solara drives to the house to search for Eli, but he is nowhere to be found. Eli is seen walking down the long road going west, and Solara finds him. Together in the car, they drive towards the west. She apologizes for all the trouble she caused and for making him give up the book. Eli tells her he gave up the book for the desire to do for others more than himself. Carnegie has the book in his hands, but he soon finds out that it is locked. He tried to open it, but he couldn't. They drive across the sea on a bridge that's still standing. She hit the brakes because the bridge was broken, and they went on foot to get to the other side. The two of them ride a boat by the shore, taking turns rowing and both feeling the coldness of the ocean breeze. A man shouts from afar, asking what their business with the place is. Eli introduces himself, claiming that he has a King James Bible in his possession. Back in the city, the engineer from the shop is trying to open the locked Bible. Eli and Solara successfully enter the heavily guarded place. They have a man and a large number of people, books and a printing press, and they are going to teach people about the world that they lost and help to start rebuilding it. They have all sorts of books, but they don't have a Bible, which Eli claims he has. Back in the city, the engineer finally opens the lock, and he was disappointed. At the same time, Eli asks for some paper to write on. Eli told the man to pay attention to everything he said and write it down. Eli speaks the book of Genesis verse by verse. Carnegie calls Solara the blind mother of Carnegie. A faint smile is seen on her face as she touches the Braille writing. Unfortunately, she can't remember how to interpret it, and he begs her to interpret it. She makes a mockery of his injured leg. He leans on a rail, observing as everything he built is being destroyed by his men. Eli is dressed in white and speaking the word of God. The book, the Bible, is printed out. Solara is seen on a tombstone that has Eli's name on it. The man then told Solara that she doesn't have to live here, that she would be safe here, and she told him that she has unfinished business back at home. The Bible is being kept in the library. Solara is seen with Eli's blade and an iPod as she finds her way back home. We hope you enjoyed our video. Leave a comment down below and let us know what you think about the movie. If you liked this movie, you can watch it in the links down below. And also, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell for more of our videos. Thanks for watching Red Recaps. See you in the next one.